Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just jump right in, because today we are taking a seriously fascinating digital journey right into Britain's historic Pinewood Studios. You know, if you've been to the cinema recently, there is a very, very good chance you've seen the incredible results of what happens inside these exact walls. We're going to be exploring the cutting-edge scanning technology of a company called Clear Angle. They work across film, television, games, and creator projects. And what they do is fundamentally reshaping how our favorite stories are brought to life on the screen. So have you ever been sitting in a theater, maybe watching a massive superhero flick or some epic sci-fi battle, and found yourself wondering, wait, how did they actually do that? How do studios put real, recognizable people into these unbelievable, gravity-defying CGI situations? Well, the answer isn't just movie magic, it's a highly sophisticated data-gathering process. And as we're going to see today, capturing the data needed to create those mind-bending visual effects requires some of the absolute most intense and specialized hardware on the planet.
When actors and VIPs first walk into Clear Angle's capture offices, they are met with something truly wild. In fact, the technicians themselves say the space looks a bit like a spaceship. Imagine walking into a room filled with what literally look like robots, these intense, highly engineered rigs designed to scan almost anything you could possibly want to put inside a film. It's so intense with all the flashing lights that people frequently call it a red carpet simulator. If it's a person's first time visiting, the technicians actually have to take a beat to walk them around the rigs and explain exactly what's going to happen to them, just so they don't get completely overwhelmed.
Section 1. What is a digital double?
Let's look at what all this futuristic hardware is actually building. To get our foundational understanding here, this brings us to the core concept of our explainer, the digital double. Now, a digital double isn't just some basic computer graphic. It is a highly detailed, mathematically precise 3D model created directly from physical scans. And what's so amazing is the versatility here. Clear Angle can scan just a face in one rig, or they can use a full-body scanner to capture an entire person. But they don't even stop there. Outside of the studio walls, they're using this exact same fundamental technology to create digital doubles of massive landscapes and entire buildings.
Section 2. The red carpet simulator.
Let's step inside the exact place where the magic happens and get a bit more specific. Get ready, because the hardware in here is honestly staggering. Inside the single scanning rig, there are exactly 32 specialized lights arranged in two distinct sets. Now, these are definitely not your average light bulbs. These are precisely calibrated to perfectly illuminate every single millimeter of the subject standing right in the center of the room.
But you know, the lights are really just the supporting cast. Surrounding the actor in this massive 360-degree array are 204 individual cameras. Just imagine that for a second. Standing on a small box in the middle of a room, completely surrounded by hundreds of camera lenses pointing directly at you.
And those 204 cameras, they're carefully programmed to capture an incredible 260 photos all at once. They don't miss a single detail. They're capturing every angle, every contour, and literally every piece of fabric draped on the actor's body. Okay, so here's the absolute kicker. It's the speed at which all of this happens. 32 lights, 204 cameras, 260 photos, and the whole shebang fires in just 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds of intense, blinding flashes coming at you from every possible direction. It is an absolute sensory overload, which is exactly why the technicians affectionately warn the actors that it's going to feel like the most aggressive paparazzi encounter of their entire lives.
Section 3. Inside the scanning spaceship.
Now that we know the raw numbers, let's explore what a typical day actually looks like when an A-list actor walks into this rig. The workflow here is incredibly streamlined. First, the technician explains the rig. Then they pose the actor. They have them stand on a box on very specific B marks. The actor is told to bring their arms out in front, almost as if they're holding an invisible box. This is absolutely vital because it creates space underneath the armpits, ensuring the cameras can see the entire body at once without anything being blocked. The actor has to look straight ahead with a completely neutral expression, lips together. Basically, they're posing like an action figure. Once they're in the zone, 3, 2, 1, that intense 1.5-second flash triggers. And just like that, step 4, they're done and sent right back to the film set.
But for the technicians, the real work is just starting. All 260 of those pictures are instantly sent over to a computer in the room. The specialized software then goes to work figuring out exactly where each photograph was taken in 3D space. By stitching together all those different camera angles, the computer meticulously recreates the 3D geometry of the actor. It transforms flat 2D images into a fully manipulatable 3-dimensional digital replica. It's like a giant, instantaneous 3D puzzle.
And this brilliantly illustrates why this specific tech is such a massive game changer. In the past, the old method was, well, actually scratch that, it wasn't just slow, it was painfully slow. Technicians used to have to put someone on a physical turntable, slowly spin them around, and take all those photos individually. Now, they just surround them with cameras, add loads of lights, and do it all in a 1.5-second simultaneous capture. Why does this matter so much? Because a movie set is a massive, expensive machine. Everyone is waiting around. An actor has a job to do, and the studio simply cannot afford to waste their time. Getting them in, turning them around, and getting them back to set in minutes is a huge operational victory for everyone.
Section 4. Protecting VIP studio data.
Naturally, knowing that a computer has a flawless, high-resolution 3D scan of a world-famous celebrity brings up a pretty massive question. How on earth do they protect it? Well, the security protocols are ironclad. Because ClearAngle works with essentially every large film studio in the world, they are forced to adhere to extremely tight data requirements. They assure talent that their digital likeness is absolutely safe. It doesn't get uploaded to some random cloud or shared freely. It doesn't go anywhere. In fact, it's stored locally, right there in a secure, completely offline room where unauthorized personnel simply cannot get to it.
Section 5. Why human actors remain vital.
Even with the data completely secured, there's this existential question that always floats around this kind of technology. If you can scan actors so perfectly, does that mean less work for real, human actors, especially the ones just starting out in the industry? Well, the technicians at ClearAngle are very clear about this. They state, "We're not here to replace someone's entire performance." Why? Because, contrary to popular belief, it is actually extremely difficult to completely synthesize a compelling human performance. The experts themselves admit that it is far easier, and crucially, the end result is far better when you just use a real person.
It's really not about man versus machine, it's a true collaboration. The human actor is there to shoot the real scene. They bring the authentic emotion, those tiny, subtle facial tics, the genuine performance that we as audiences actually connect with. The digital double is simply a tool. It exists so visual effects artists can seamlessly add in elements that you just can't produce safely or practically in real life, like, throwing a character off a building or dropping them into a fiery explosion. The digital double takes over for the impossible, preserving the actor for the emotional core of the film.
And that brings us to the end of our digital journey today. As you can see, the technology powering modern blockbusters is dizzyingly complex, literally operating in fractions of a second to map our reality right into a digital space. But the human element, it remains at the absolute center of it all. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. As this scanning hardware gets even faster, and as these 3D models get even more hyper-realistic, how will these digital tools continue to evolve cinematic storytelling without losing that vital human touch? Thank you so much for learning with me on this explainer, and hey, keep your eyes peeled next time you're at the movies. You never know when you're looking at a 1.5-second digital double.